What's up? What's up? What's up? Watch the intro. What's new? Oh man, I sat here and did all this preparing. I'm late getting started, and I botched the intro. I still had the screen share going. I looked at anyway. I have this device, which, by the way, if you're gonna do any sort of streaming, I highly suggest a Stream Deck. Right. So the Stream Deck has all of my scenes that I want to use. So when I want to go to, like, let's say the cover, and then I want to come back to me, if I had a guest going, I could pop on this. That just has two different cameras there. So those sort of things are quick to do from this Stream Deck. So I did all this setup, and I looked down, and there's a live thumbnail, and I'm like, I'm still screen sharing, and I can't stop it until I switch scenes. And I was like, happy Sunday. We are live. We're doing it live. What was that? Anyway, Fox host that once went off and did that. So anyway, hope everybody had a great week. It's been, let's just say, I'm happy to see this week over. It was a very, very rough week for me. And so, just on the work perspective, not on like a personal level or anything, but just work wise, it was a very rough week. But ended up having a great day yesterday. Got to go see my nephew play a little 7-on-7, and it was actually pretty interesting. It's up in the Woodlands, which, by the way, the Woodlands is a haul to get there from down here. We're in Pearland, which is South Houston. And if you've never been to Houston, Houston is like, from top to bottom, side to side, you could spend well over an hour, especially if there's traffic, just going from south side to the north side. It's not a quick trip by any means. So we ended up having to go like all the way into the Woodlands, which, when I looked at the address, it said Conroe. I was like, we done left Houston. So usually a lot of people think Woodlands is like, or at least let me say with me, when I think Woodlands, I think it's, like just above Houston, right there by the mall. But no, it was in there. So it was actually a pretty cool facility, Gosling facility or something like that. And they had six fields where they were running all these games to kind of figure out the seeding for today. And they're doing more of the tournament today. So, but I'm here with you. And I decided to go ahead and, maybe first time or so on the show, reveal the baldness. It's no secret that I'm bald, that I shave all this off. Um, but I usually rock my hats because I hate cold air just like breezing across my head. I don't like it. So that's why I wear hats all the time. And also, if I'm not shaving, then pop the hat on. Uh, but anyway, it felt decent in here today. I was like, what hat am I gonna wear? No hat today. Let's bless the folks with the shine. So if you're watching this, if you're listening on the podcast, you're missing the fun. Go to YouTube. Those of you on YouTube right now, like, share, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know every time that we go live. So I'm going to jump into a few things. Today's show is about navigating crypto. Got my crypto shirt on, Evolution of Money. This is the Cardano logo down here. I had my big old Bitcoin shirt on yesterday. A guy stopped me, but we're gonna save that to the end of the show. That's gonna be the crux of the episode. So we're gonna go through some news, talk about some things, a few updates here and there before we get there. But been asked a lot about crypto because I talk about it, I tweet about it, I post on Facebook about it. I have crypto clothes and like all this sort of stuff. So I'm always, in some way talking about crypto. So people tend to ask me questions. So I figured might as well put an episode together with some resources to kind of help people get started in that sense. So we're going to go through some of those things, like I say, at the end of the episode, and we're just going to kind of walk through how I navigate crypto. You may find a different route, but I'm just going to give some do's, don'ts, and some resources and things like that. I kind of gave away the first article in the intro, but we talked about this recently, and I wanted, as soon as I saw this, I said, "Oh no, this is absolutely a topic for the show." But before I talk about this, can we just take a second to look at this page? This page, this is from The Hill, thehill.com. This, I mean, we're looking at this top part, right? There's a big old ad before you even see the title. Okay, all right, they got to make money from somewhere, right? All right, I get it. Then you scroll the page, and on the sidebar, there's two more, you know, decent sized ads here on the right. If you keep scrolling, it's all of this sponsored content at the bottom. One, two more ads, same ad that was at the top on the side up there. So we're looking at 5 primary ads plus all of this sponsored content by looks like Outbrain, and it's just like it's a messy site for me. I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to this stuff. Like it's very like the content isn't even very long, but all this other stuff around it. This is why I read Axios because they don't have they have ads, right? But it's not like it's a focus on the content. So anyway, here on the Hill, the title of the article is by Eris Folly. It says, woman accused of sending deepfakes to daughter's cheerleading rivals. We just talked about these deepfakes. A Pennsylvania woman is facing charges of cyber harassment of a child after local prosecutors said she sent out photos and videos of teen rivals on her daughter's cheerleading team that were doctored to show them naked, drinking, and smoking in an effort to get them booted from the squad. I mean, we just talked about this, right? We just went through this couple episodes ago talking about the deepfakes. I don't recall which one it was, but it was either 127, 128, or 129. One of them. It was one of those. So go back to that episode, take a listen. We just got through saying this kind of stuff was going to start happening. And here we go. And mind you, this is an older situation. So the information, I mean, the technology is getting easier. You're going to see this stuff more and more. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, I probably should have read this from there. The office of Bucks County District Attorney Matt Weintraub said 50-year-old Rafaela, I guess, Spohn, is facing misdemeanor charges of cyber harassment for allegedly sending images of her daughter's teammates and their coaches, or images to her daughter's teammates and their coaches. And here, let me move this video so you can see. This is Rafaela Spohn. She decided to do this, so her picture should be shown. She should be made famous in a way she didn't want to be made famous. The charges reportedly stem from doctored images and videos, also known as deepfakes. Spohn sent them from a fake number last year. She also sent text telling her daughter's teammates to commit suicide, according to the Inquirer. Prosecutors said police were able to trace the number to a website that sells to telemarketers. Let me move around my screen here. I hate looking to the side, and I'm looking for it. From there, they were reportedly able to track to an IP address that was used in Spohn's home and later uncovered evidence on her phone. Spohn, who was charged last week, is reportedly scheduled for a preliminary hearing in the case later this month. The coaches of the cheerleading team, Victory Vipers, said in a statement to ABC News that they've been cooperating with the local police for this probe. Victory Vipers has always promoted a family environment, and we are sorry for all individuals involved. We have very well established policies and a very strict anti-bullying policy program. Mark Mateig and Kelly Kramer told the network. When the incident came to our attention last year, we immediately initiated our internal investigation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. Now, I read down to the end part to point out the timeline that this came to their attention last year. This is in my opinion, this is a major threat to society. And the reason I say that is because as this technology becomes cheaper and easier, more and more people are going to use it. And they're going to do things like this. Now, Rafaela apparently thinks that her daughter can't win on her own. Great message. Awesome job, Mom. Teach your daughter that she needs to do something nefarious in order to get ahead. You wouldn't be the first, and you're not going to be the last. This is I won't repeat everything from that. Go listen to the last episode. It's very dangerous because now I don't know how good of a job she did, but the point, like the Tom Cruise video that we showed in that episode, that was remarkable. Now, if she was able to pull that stuff off and show that stuff about these kids, maybe she gets away with it, for a bit, right? So it's very dangerous. We're not going to be able to believe what we see. That's crazy, right? Like we may see something, but it may not be real. It's going to be a real mind twist once this becomes a lot more mainstream. So keep your eye out. Don't disbelieve everything you see. It's crazy that I'm saying that, but you really can't believe everything you see. You're going to have to start verifying this stuff. There's no way around it. Today, or actually I believe it was yesterday, marked 1 year since the police killing of Breonna Taylor, and there's still not justice for it. So this is an article here back on Axios by Lauren Whitney Gottbrath. And the point of this, there's a lot more context here, and I'm not going to go through the full details of this. You can go watch past episodes. We talked about Breonna Taylor and how terrible of a case this is. We've covered the story. We've covered the progress, things like that. So you can go back and catch all of that. But I wanted to go through and just kind of scroll through the photos so you can see here that the fight continues in terms of like getting justice for Breonna. It's just crazy that a year later there's still not justice for her. They just, I mean, look, just take race, everything else, socioeconomic issues, take it all out. The police showed up at apartment complex and just started dumping into apartments. Dumping. The charges against one of the officers was because he shot into another apartment. He was charged not for shooting Breonna. He was charged for shooting in a different apartment because it went through the wall. That was his charge. Not for wrongfully killing Breonna. This is America. This is our system. This stuff shouldn't even be necessary. The government is killing people, right? Like you can try if you want to separate police and the state or the government, but they are government employees. They represent the government, whether it's federal, state, local, doesn't matter. They represent the government, and the government is killing people. It's as simple as that. I don't care who it is. I don't care what's going on. The government is outright killing people. Now, there are times where the government has to come in and take care of something, and they have to kill somebody to save somebody else, right? Let's say bank robber, whatever. And he has a whole bunch of people hostage, and he's about to blow up 50 people, right? They take out the one individual to save the 50, right? So don't think I'm being, over the top here with this aspect. I'm talking about when the government is killing innocent people, people who don't deserve and did nothing wrong, just in their house, sleep. It's kind of stuff that's going on here in America. That sort of stuff should outrage you. It really should. Like, without a doubt, if there's any issue that we can come together on, it should be that the government shouldn't be killing citizens. One of their points is to protect us, to protect our rights. That's the point of the government. So when they're just killing people, you okay with that? Innocent people. You okay with that? Yeah. Negative grasshopper. Not okay with that. Ron Johnson. I cracked up when I saw this. And I listened to the audio, and he was dead serious. If the Capitol mob had been Black Lives Matter, Antifa protesters, is what he said, I might have been a little concerned. Senator Ron Johnson said in an interview on the Joe Pags show, which, by the way, Joe Pags agreed with him, and I'm not going to play the audio, that he didn't feel threatened during the January 6th Capitol riots. But if it was Black Lives Matters or members of Antifa, if they had stormed Congress instead of Trump supporters, he would have been a little concerned. Now, this is why it matters. Johnson had promoted false claims of widespread election fraud in the aftermath of 2020. This is what they're saying. Even though those thousands of people were marching on the Capitol, were trying to pressure people like me to vote the way they wanted me. Oh, okay, let me rephrase that. Even though those thousands of people were marching on the Capitol, were trying to pressure people like me to vote the way they wanted me to vote, I knew those were people that love this country, that truly respect law enforcement, would never do anything to break the law, so I wasn't concerned. Now, had the tables been turned, Joe, this could get me in trouble. I mean, he was right. Had the tables been turned and President Trump won the election, and those were tens of thousands of Black Lives Matter and Antifa protesters, I might have been a little concerned. I mean, what insurrection was he watching? He said literally that they love this country, right? So this it's little things that you got to pay attention to. They love this country, which is to say Black Lives Matter and Antifa don't. Okay? And by the way, the whole lumping of Black Lives Matter and Antifa is very specific. Antifa goes out and they wreck shop because they are anti-fascist. They are going to do whatever they want to do. They're going to be violent. They're just going to be looking for a fight, right? There's a good video on, I think it's on YouTube. I can't remember where I watched it or what the guy's name was. It was basically an interview with somebody. Patrick Bet-David show, Valuetainment. Go look up the interview he had with the Antifa guy, and he basically was like, "Look, Antifa's he was formerly Antifa, and he's like, it morphed. It wasn't what it is now, and they're just looking for a fight, right? That's Antifa, but they purposefully put Antifa and Black Lives Matter together in the same way that you see like Proud Boys and Trump supporters. When the cross section of Proud Boys and Trump supporters is very like tight. It's very tight. The cross section of Antifa and Black Lives Matter is not so tight because Antifa is looking for a fight. A Black Lives Matter protest gives them that cover, right? Anyway, I'm not going to dig so deep into that, but you can pay attention to the narrative. The narrative came out about last summer or so when all the riots and stuff were happening, but you saw that stuff happening, and we know that the Boogaloo Boys was there trying to destroy the Minneapolis police station and stuff like that, right? Like there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and things started happening at night, right? That was the repeat that kept happening. Black Lives Matter protest, and then people start destroying stuff at night. Night started happening. It's videos of cops walking around in black clad. Turned out the guy was a cop, black clad, busting windows and stuff. Right, like there was like just weapons mysteriously showing up. Right, there were people urging these things. Right, but the important part to pay attention to here is they love this country. They truly respect law enforcement. Okay. Interesting. And they would never do anything to break the law. Okay. That's a very interesting take, Mr. Johnson there. Mind you, Ron Johnson is senator from Wisconsin. And so Ron Johnson here believes that the people who climbed over walls, busted into windows, beat a cop with an American flag, 2 or 3 cops now are dead from there. There's a total of like 6 or 7 people died as a result of this. Went in with the express purpose of trying to kill senators. These are the people who he says will never break the law. Or let me get the exact quote. I thought I was over exaggerating. No, he said would never do anything to break the law. I mean, if he said this on January the 5th, maybe, even though we had seen evidence of otherwise through the protests when they were coming out and they started trying to fight and do all these sort of things, we've seen the violence at Trump rallies, when he was running in 2016. We've seen some stuff before. We saw a lot of stuff in 2020. But, okay, the insurrection hadn't happened. But the insurrection happened, and now you're trying to come out and say they would never do anything to break the law. What? What America are you watching? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. How you could deal with an issue like this and still come out on the side of the Trump supporters would have never done anything like this, even though we saw the Trump supporters did something exactly like this. In fact, Navy contractor arrested in Capitol riot was a known white supremacist. I mean, these people, these people are violent people. You want to know how? We know, not just because we saw it, but because they're people. And that's what people do. On the flip side, I hear a bunch of narratives about like where's Black Lives Matter with this issue and where's Black Lives Matter with that issue. I guess it's only black people, not brown people, and I hear stuff like that all the time. And it's just people who are in this scenario either hyper partisan. They're either hyper partisan on the, let's say they're ignorant to the issues. I'll put that far to the left, or in the middle, like they're ignorant, they're hyper partisan, or you can go to the extreme, they're racist, right? It's these sort of like variations across the scale, right? Where they don't know because they just hadn't paid attention to it. They're hyper partisan, meaning they anything with Black Lives Matter in it, they're just gonna hate it. Doesn't matter. Put the name on it. They're just gonna hate it, which is again why Antifa plus Black Lives Matter is now a right wing talking point. But here we have an article on Axios from Russell Contreras, how Black Lives Matter helped Native Americans and Latinos. Protests over killing of George Floyd generated a racial reckoning across the U.S. that also helped Native Americans and Latinos bring attention to their fight against systemic racism. Native Americans say the resurgence of Black Lives Matter movement in response to Floyd's death helps push sports teams to change their team logos. Latino activists say it also drew attention to their own long ignored experiences with police abuse. The Washington football team changed their name, et cetera, et cetera. Black Lives Matter. Went too fast here on my scroll. The move came after Black Lives Matter pushed FedEx to pull sponsorship deals, right? And then again, I've said this a lot. When the money changes, everything else will follow, right? They said they were never going to do it. Well, actually, there you go. Right here in the article. Dan Snyder has said repeatedly he would never change the name, right? Now the Cleveland Indians have announced in December that the team would change its name, et cetera, et cetera. Article goes on. Run a little bit long on the first part of that show, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. The point I wanted to make of bringing this up, I saw somebody on Twitter post recently. I forgot what their tweet was. It was something to the effect. They took a picture of. There was if you've seen in the store, there's these little tags they put in certain areas where they show a product is black owned, and that bothers a lot of people, right? For them to call out that a company is black owned. This is the pendulum swing. That's all it is, right? The pendulum of race relations swings, and eventually that thing is going to come to a settling point, right? And then once it settles down, it'll be, it won't be so hyper. There won't be such a hyper focus on particular things. If you go back, the pendulum has swung all the way with racism, right? Slavery. After slavery, we end up with 100 years of Jim Crow, and like just violence through all of this, murder, killing, wide open, didn't matter, black person, sending postcards of burned bodies, hung people, stamps, like whatever. Like they were profiting off of genocide, right? This was the common thing of the day. It was normal to kill black people. You could get applause for that. You could bring out your family and you could watch a lynching. This was America, right? That pendulum swing started coming down. We started getting things started kind of changing. Integration, Voting Rights Act, affirmative action, et cetera, et cetera. It was trying to basically get that pendulum back, get it from the hard far right racism and bring that thing back, and now let that thing swing to a different spot. Well, a pendulum has force. So that force has now swung it all the way over here to the right. And even for me, like it does bother me to see how far the pendulum has swung, because I know it's going to turn a lot of people off. But understand it. It's the pendulum. This is what's happening. So when I see something that says black owned, and I see I'm on a dev site looking at a JavaScript library, and there's a big old banner at the top: Black Lives Matter. We support Black Lives Matter, and all this sort of thing. And GitHub, where it's a code repository. They changed their primary branch from master to main because the whole master slave paradigm and this and that's the pendulum, right? A lot of it's going to seem like virtue signaling, where people are just going out of their way to just kind of show that they're virtuous as a company or as people or whatever. It's the pendulum, right? So it's not going to bother you one bit if there's a tag at a grocery store that says black owned. It's not going to bother you. Socioeconomically speaking, black people are at the lower rung, or one of the lower rungs on the ladder. It's not a big deal if black businesses are promoted or if black causes are promoted. It's not a big deal. It's not going to impact you negatively. Chill out. It doesn't impact you. Chill out. You can have your feelings about it. You can have your emotions, but just chill out and just understand that it is the pendulum swinging. All right. We talked about the border. Biden admin is sending FEMA to the border to help care for child migrants. An article by Rebecca Falconer. The Biden administration announced Saturday it has directed the Federal Emergency, or FEMA, to go to the southern border and help care for increasing numbers of unaccompanied child migrants arriving here. This is why it matters. The record number of child migrants crossing the border has been overwhelming. The administration stretched across resources. Per a DHS statement Saturday, since April 2020, the number of encounters at the border have been rising due to ongoing violence, natural disasters, food insecurity, and poverty in the Northern Triangle countries of Central America. Customs and Border Protection has projected a peak of 13,000 unaccompanied minors crossing the border in May, according to the details leaked to Axios. All right, so we talked about this before, and this is something that the Democrats railed against, right? They railed against kids in cages. Excuse me. They went on and on and on. Kids in cages, kids in cages. Oh, it's a moral outrage, blah, 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 blah. Biden's been in office almost 2 full months. Kids are still in those facilities, right? We just covered this a few episodes ago. Kids are still in the cages, or are still in these facilities. The facilities are getting overrun with the number of kids who are there. It's a health crisis, but they're still there. So this is in response to that. And they're trying to work through these parts and get these pieces together. So came here and railed against Biden and what they were failing to do. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to tell you what they're doing to actually address this. So DHS said that Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas had directed FEMA to support a government-wide effort over the next 90 days to safely receive, shelter, and transfer unaccompanied children who make the dangerous journey to the U.S. southwest border. Here's what they're saying. I'll just jump down to the quote. Well, I'll read this whole part. Mayorkas said in a statement, anyone apprehended at the border will continue to be denied entry and are returned to effectively protect both the health and safety of migrants and other communities from the spread, and our communities from the spread of COVID. A Border Patrol facility is no place for a child. We are working in partnership with HHS to address the needs of unaccompanied children, which is made only more difficult given the protocols and restrictions required to protect public health and the health of the children themselves. So, good news, they're working on it. Nothing has changed, but they are working on it. We're going to flash through some of these here real quick to just kind of touch points so we can finish up the last 20 minutes here on crypto. I'm not going to read this article, didn't plan on it from the beginning, But I just wanted to point this out. This article by Jacob Knudsen is infectious diseases expert says COVID variants are a whole new ballgame. And the only point I want to make on this is watch out. Because if there are new variants, that means we're going to go right back into the age of the unknown. We're not going to know how to address it. We'll have some back knowledge of the current strain, but if there's a new strain, if there's another variant of COVID that comes out, getting back into the unknown, it is very likely that we could see a shutdown again, whether it's a long, short, statewide, federal, whatever. It's very possible, which also means you probably won't see the mask go anywhere for a while. So keep an eye out on it. There's also some news to pay attention to is that wealthy people are taking COVID-19 vaccines allotted for others. This is an article by Shauna Chen. Both of these articles here from Axios. So it's very, very important to just pay attention to these little things, right? Like people are trying to get this, and this is a socioeconomic issue, right? Rich people feel entitled, right? Like they deserve this, right? Why are you gonna give it to that person, freeloader, leecher, blah 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 blah? Or why are you gonna give it to these? Like no, give it to me. I employ these people, blah blah. Like there's some people feel entitled, and some people are just like, look, I got it. I'll pay whatever I need to do to get it. Right? Those things happen. It's a socioeconomic issue, which is why we're gonna touch into crypto. Last update. 5 minutes over, 7 minutes over. Let's finish this real quick. Senator Schumer and Gillibrand call on Cuomo to resign. Now, we've covered Cuomo. Not going to dig into the story, but I'll come on here and I'll tell you I told you so quite often when I tell you something and it's right. So I want to come in here and say I was wrong. I didn't think that the Democrats would actually hold his feet to the fire. Or let me say, hold their own to the fire. This could be political expediency. It could be genuine. Not sure if it is. But I give them credit. They're holding their feet to the fire. All right. So to preface the crypto talk, I want to talk about a graphic my brother sent me. And this graphic is related to the stimulus. And the stimulus is coming out and everybody has all kind of stimulus advice. This episode brought to you by Nestle Pure Life. Just kidding. They didn't pay anything, but had to clear the throat a little bit. Everybody has stimulus advice. I got stimulus advice. You got your stimmy? Do this, right? But this is bad advice. So I had to call this out. And then we're going to talk about this real quick. I left the name off of the person who posted, but it says take $150 out of your stimulus. Go get you an LLC. I'm right there with you. If you get $1,400, it's a little bit over 10%. You can actually start an LLC for cheaper than that. It don't cost $150, but let's just say it's $150, right? You're left with still over $1,000, right? So you're gonna have $1,290 left. All right, cool. I'm all for starting businesses. I love business. That's why I started a business podcast. I love it. I love talking about it. I love the benefits that it gives you. Starting an LLC, you can start writing stuff off. Like there's all sorts of stuff that you can do. Let's keep reading. Now you own your business. Now go online and get a $5,000 small business grant. That's how you turn $150 into $5,000. Now you have $5,000 and your own business. Take out a credit card in your business name. Use half then pay it off. Make your business credit perfect. Every time you spend $1, file it under the business. End of the year, file those taxes, pay those taxes, start living good, all off $150. Had to repost this 100 hashtag 2020 vibes. No, no. So if you get an SBA grant and it's a full on grant and you don't have to pay that money back, okay, cool. Why do you need the credit card? For what? You're telling people to use half of the amount that's available on the credit card and then pay it off. Okay. That's one way to build credit, right? Like you can start building credit, but it's not going to be you start a business today and next week you can get $5,000 in the SBA grant. Just like that. Boom, $5,000. And it's not that you can just go out and get a credit card and say, give me another $5,000 on a credit card or whatever. And boom, you can just start spending and, you can start paying it off. What are you paying it off with? The SBA grant? Okay. So let's say you got the SBA grant. Let's say it's the $5,000. You have a business. The business account has $5,000. You got a credit card and you spend, let's say the credit card is another $5,000. You spend $2,500. All right. Pay that off. Now your account has $2,500 left in it. Are you going to keep spending on that credit card? What are you going to do with that other 25? Where do you actually go from there? What do you do with the business? What's your offering? What are you doing to make money in the business? What's your business about? How do you track your finances in your business? Are you using Excel? Are you using QuickBooks? How do you do invoicing? Is your website online? Is it a product-based business? How are you selling that product? How are you shipping it? What is it that you're doing? Like all of these things. I'm 100% for starting a business. Yes, have a business. But to tell people to take 150, start a business, get a grant, which you may not be able to get, take that grant and you've turned that into, take that 150 and you've turned it into 5,000. Nah, man, it's a pipe dream. There's no get rich quick scheme. It just isn't. There's not one that you can just be like, boom, I'm rich, right? Like there's no get rich. You have to work. And this thing, you can see, let me scroll down a little bit. 714 likes and hearts. 11,554 shares at the time that this was sent to me. Yeah, nah. People getting their stimmies, let them do what they want to do with their stimmies. If they want to blow it, is what it is. If they don't need it, is what it is. This is the part of like getting the economy rolling, right? If you get the money and you stuff it in the mattress and you don't spend it, the economy stays the same. It doesn't move. The point of a stimulus is to get the money and spend it so that it'll go into businesses' pockets and that business will need to get more inventory and blah, 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 blah. And then just the whole thing just keeps working. That's the point, right? So however people are going to use their stimulus, that's how they're going to use it. But here's how you should use it. Let me give you my pitch. Crypto. All right. So cryptocurrency. This is CoinMarketCap. I'm going to go through some resources here real quick. So first, let me start off with what is crypto, right? And my shirt is a little bit facetious. It's the evolution of money going from seashells, all the way across to Cardano, which is one of my favorite cryptocurrencies. And none of this is financial advice. I'm just saying, this is crypto. Cryptocurrency is basically, in a simple sense, digital currency. Okay. The world is becoming more and more digital. You can send Cash App or Zelle, and you can get money across to people pretty swiftly, right? If you've ever had to send like an international wire, right, and you had to use the Swift banking system, you know that is horrible. It's costly, it's slow, it's cumbersome. Well, crypto is looking to actually solve those things. And I'm not going to go through the whole history of everything, but Bitcoin launched in like 2008. Satoshi Nakamoto, who was either a pseudonym or a real person, we don't know, basically took these other attempts at digital currencies, DigiCash and stuff that happened like in the 90s. That, like, none of Bitcoin is new, right? To be frank and be clear, it's not new. It's a collection of other technologies, and what's new are the rules around it. There's 21 million Bitcoin. There'll never be any more. A portion of a Bitcoin. So basically, if you have zero point zero 0.01, that means you have, well, let me say, Satoshi is what, a millionth of a Bitcoin, I believe it is. And so whatever that math works out for that zero point zero 0.01. But after the decimal are Satoshis, basically. Think of them as the cents, right? So the one is the Bitcoin, which is the dollar, right? And then the after decimal is the cents compared to Satoshis, right? That's a simple way, and it's not a great explanation, but understand that that's when you hear it, that's what it is. Satoshi equals cents. So it was started as an alternative to the system because the dollar is an inflationary asset, right? So if you had a dollar, let's say you worked in 1950 and you had $1. That $1 was worth a dollar, or let's do a bigger number. Let's say $1,000. That $1,000 was worth $1,000 at that time. That $1,000 in 2021 would be pretty much nothing, right? Compared to what it was then, right? Understand? Compared to what it was then. If you show somebody the price of cars now in 1950, it will blow their mind completely because the price of cars have just skyrocketed, right? The price of houses have skyrocketed, right? Like these things are just all based on the dollar having inflated the value through all of these terrible monetary policies. So if you're trying to hold on to $10,000, the worth of, or $1,000, I'm sorry, the worth of that money is steadily decreasing because the costs are steadily increasing. Bitcoin is the opposite. And that's because they can print as much money as they want. It's not tied to anything. In 1972, they got Nixon got us off the gold standard. It was supposed to be temporary. Here we are, 50 years later almost. We're still not on the gold standard. So at that point, that's when the whole idea of like the money printing goes brrr, right? Like the money printer, because and you'll hear that sometimes, because they can just print whatever they want, and it's not printing technically. It's just moving a decimal place. Now it's digital, right? Like they just go in the computer and they say, boop. Now there's more supply. That's all they're doing. They're sending out a check. You're not gonna like get $1,400 in cash. You're gonna get a check or a direct deposit, and there's not even a check printed. So now you got a direct deposit. It's just move it, send money to people's accounts. Okay. So that 1.9 trillion, plus the whatever another 1.9 trillion, whatever it was last year. They're just piling that on the trash heap. They just been tossing it on. Bitcoin is deflationary. There's only ever going to be 21 million. All of the Bitcoin will be mined. There's estimates between 2040 and potentially 2073, something like that. But all the Bitcoin in the world ever are going to be gone one day, right? But it'll be a way for us to exchange, these currencies, and it'll kind of turn into the idea of using your Satoshis, right? So you don't have to have a whole Bitcoin. You can have a portion. You can have the 0.1 or 0.001, right? You can have it. It doesn't matter. There are a lot of things that are happening. Actually, I'll pull this up. And it's basically a way for you to earn free Satoshis by shopping and doing certain things. So I'll pull that up and show that in a minute. But the point is, right now, it's a store of value, meaning you put your money into it, over time, it's going to increase. If you would have taken your stimulus check last year, let's say if you got it a year ago today, here we can actually pull this up. Again, this is Coin Market Cap. And let me slide this over so you can see it. This is the Bitcoin chart. And this basically is going back to 2013 right here. But we can go in a 1 year cycle. So if we come back here and we say March, it's not showing me last year. It's showing me March the 15th. So March the 15th, the price of Bitcoin was $5,349. I wish I would have got some then. I've been holding since 2017 and I've gotten some more, but I didn't put a load on it. Since then, it's went from $5,000 to where it is right now, that's $60,000, $717. Yes, that's the actual numbers. So in that year time frame, we have seen, what I say, 5,000. Let's do the math. 5,349,000, and right now we're at 60 or 59. All right, so 59, 897.33. All right, so just look at the. Oh, actually, I did the math wrong. Let me take this back the other way, and that's 11x. So 11x. So that's an 11x gain of your money had you put it in Bitcoin, right? So if you put 1,000 in, you would have ended up having 11,000, right? If you put 1,400 in, let's see, what's 1,400 times 11? It would have been 15,000, right? This is what we mean by store value. It's like how gold, silver, those sort of things were a store of value. Right now, there are some issues that need to be worked out for it to be used in microtransactions, things like that. So you're not going to see it replace the dollar right now, but it's a good place to park your money and then allow it to appreciate. Looking at that time frame, and if you're looking at how much the price has changed, a lot of people are scared of the volatility. Like it's very volatile. How do we deal with, this volatility and it going up and down and moving so fast and those sort of things, right? Those things happen, right? It's going to go up and down, and that's good and bad, right? I bought some at 52,000. It's up at roughly 60. If I took profit right now, I'd make more. But if I hold it, it could go below 52. And if it goes below 52, now I'm losing money, right? You never lose technically until you sell. If you buy, it doesn't matter. If you buy some stock and the stock is worth $10 and then it plummets down to $1, you've lost 90% of your value. but you haven't technically lost because you still own the shares that you bought, right? So those shares that you bought, they're not worth much. It's only $1 per share. But if that comes back up and now it's worth $20, well, now you've doubled your money. That's the idea of what we call a HODL. HODL is short for, or it's a term that we say for hold. Somebody misspelled it wrong. The community took off with it, and it became this big thing where we say HODL. That means just hold your Bitcoin, don't sell it, or hold your crypto, don't sell it. So the price, it is high if you're looking at it in the vein of trying to buy one. But you can still be making money on this. You could be making money by, like, if you invested at 40,000. Let's just do the math. If you said at 40,000, I wanted to, I wanted to get some Bitcoin, and then the price goes from 40,000 up to 60,000. So you didn't double, but double would have been 80, right? But you basically went half the way to a double. So your 50% increase, you could have taken your profit right then. So if you put $1,000 in right there at 80, you would have been 2,000. So you're at 1,500. You've turned 1,000 into 1,500, right? Now, long term, there are plenty of estimates out here. And this is largely what I want to get into, because I'm not trying to give like a full exhaust. We actually have done past episodes. You can go check those out, where we've broken down crypto, what money is. There's great explanations on those. But if you had started just jumping into this and started watching some videos, you run into certain people who give estimates for where things are going to go, and it's called price predictions. Price predictions generally, a lot of times, are clickbait, meaning they say things like Bitcoin is about to hit $1 million in the next 2 months, or watch this to find out when Bitcoin is going to retrace, meaning when is it going to come down from that all-time high. What's the next price point? We're getting to 80,000, find out why, stuff like that, right? They'll have you putting all your money in there. Like, oh, it's at 60 and we're about to hit 120. I'm about to double my money. Like, or we're at 50 and we're going to 1 million this year. Oh yeah, put everything in. Yeah, put it in, because I'm not only going to 10x at 500,000, I'm about to 20. Chill out. Again, there's no get rich quick. You can work this thing just like you can stocks. You can ride the wave up, you can ride the wave down. There's a lot more to it in terms of not just like buying it and just sitting on it forever, right? There's ways to actually navigate this and put in trades and say, well, there we go. I'll show the screen. There we go. Yeah, it jumped up to 60 again. But there are ways to actually take this and just take profits, right? Like I bought some at 40, made a 15% increase. I went ahead and took my bag because I wasn't sure. It looked like it may dip again. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get my bag back and get my bag. And I kept the extra 15 in, took my investment out. So now I'm technically playing with house money. All right. I'm cool with that. As long as I'm able to protect my current investment and I'm able to make money on the rest, cool, no big deal, right? So whether or not you're in this for the try to get some quick gains, or you're going for the long term and you just believe in crypto, you have to be careful of these videos. Oh, and before I jump to these resources real quick, this is the one I was talking about, Fold. So this is one where you can get Bitcoin while you shop, as they say. And essentially what you're getting is Satoshis. So you can see here, 50,000 sats. That's what we call Satoshi for short. And they basically give you a way to buy like gift cards and things like that. And then you get Satoshis as a reward. They're also coming out with their own credit card. It's a Visa card. Same kind. So you know how you use your credit card, or if you use a credit card, you go pay for a flight, you pay for hotels, whatever, and they give you rewards of like free flight miles or free hotel stays or free rental car, whatever. Those sort of rewards, cash back, stuff like that. Same concept, but your cash back is actually Bitcoin. It's just they're dealing with Satoshis, right? So they're not promising you a Bitcoin, right, which is worth 60 grand right now. They're promising you a portion of a Bitcoin, right, in terms of the Satoshis. So when you sign up, you end up, I believe you get 50,000 sats when you first sign up, or 5,000, I think. So we'll have our referral link in the description. If you want to support the show, click the link and you can sign up. They do this thing. I guess this graphic didn't show. Let me refresh and see if it'll show. No, it's not showing. So there's this thing that they do, spin for sats. And basically you spin the wheel every 24 hours. You can spin the wheel and you can get just free sats, right? So it's one of those things where it may not be worth anything, but it may in the future. Another resource, if you want to look for some news, Cointelegraph. This is, think of it like just a news news article, video sort of place. There's a lot of content on here, and they're expanding. You can see up here they have in the menu, they have news, markets, they got a magazine, they got a cryptopedia where you can come in and you can get a clear explanation of what these things are. And they also have video here. So you can check out their YouTube channel and you can find a lot of great content on here as well. So that's one of the resources, cointelegraph.com. Go in there and just kind of start reading. If anything, go to the Cryptopedia and just read up on things like Bitcoin 101, Ethereum 101, stuff like that. It'll kind of give you an understanding of what these cryptocurrencies are. One rule that I have that I've learned from others is invest in what you know. Right. When I first got into this, I bought some XRP. I didn't know what it was. I just had some money that I could play with. So I went ahead and tried it. Right. I had no idea. I just like complete FOMO. I've told this story plenty of times, so I'm not going to go through the details. Complete FOMO. And I just was like, oh, we're going to the moon. And I never took my profits. I put $500. I saw 500 turn into 6,500 and I left it in there, and I saw 6,500 turn into like 300. I sold some on the way. I got my original 500 out. But in terms of profit, XRP completely crashed back down to less than 50 cents, down to 20 cents. It went up to like $3, right? But I didn't know. I didn't get into this from Bitcoin. I didn't start that route. I started with XRP. And that was my gateway drug that got me into this. And I started jumping from coin to coin to coin to coin. And it just was not good. It wasn't good. So a couple more resources here. We're running a little bit over time, but that's okay. I just want to make sure that I give you these things. I'm looking up one more because I forgot to bring it up, but I'm going to pull that up real quick. And also, I'll find it back here. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, here it is. Bitcoin Zay on Twitter. Bitcoin Zay, Isaiah Jackson, Bitcoin in Black America. So this is it's a good book. I've been reading through it. It's about his journey in crypto. One of the things that you can do, even if you don't want to read all the articles, check out this is Zay up here in the picture. He's the one right past the word videos. You can check this channel out. It's the Gentleman of Crypto on YouTube, and they basically go through daily Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency news. So every morning they put out a video. I mean, the videos aren't crazy long here. You know, this one 27 minutes. Well, they got one. This one 46 minutes, but they tend to run pretty quick. It's a live stream. Check them out. Oh, sorry. I guess I didn't scroll for the stream for you to see it. But it's real easy, chill content. You know, they have some language if you're around kids, and that's you don't want them hearing that language. Just be aware. They're not foul or anything, but you know, they cuss. It's no big deal, right? But I always like to tell people just to be aware there. But go there, subscribe, check those guys out. Bitcoin Zay is blowing up in the crypto industry. It's great to see. You know, he's come from humble beginnings, and he's a crypto believer, and he's starting to see the fruits of that labor. Coin Bureau. I really like Coin Bureau. The way that he approaches the coins and things, he goes through and breaks down all kinds of coins. He doesn't necessarily do like just general price prediction stuff. He's not really giving a bunch of like FOMO. He'll talk about where he thinks things can go, but he's not taking advertisement. He's not reading off ads and things sort of things. So he's not what we call shilling a bunch of coins, where he's just like pushing them to try to get them to blow up sort of thing, which is good. That's a good thing. Coin Bureau is a good one. He tends to, not necessarily a daily news thing, but he tends to break down all these different coins in different ways. And it's pretty good. He gives research tools, talks about some NFTs, stuff like that. So pretty cool channel and kind of entertaining as well. If you're on the tech side, Hoshoshi is my favorite channel from the tech side. Hoshoshi is from an engineering background. So he talks about things from that tech perspective, which I appreciate. And so he does talk about different coins. He doesn't really do price prediction stuff. Every now and then he will talk about price, but he doesn't really like to talk about price. He really likes to talk about what these coins are. And he has a great segment that I like called 404 Not Found. If you're a coder, you understand that. But it's a pretty cool channel from that perspective. A lot of great information. In here. So if you're interested in a coin, I highly suggest checking out Coin Bureau or Hoshoshi to start with. Now, be careful. I like BitBoy Crypto, but he does FOMO a lot. Most urgent Bitcoin price analysis. It's the FOMO type stuff, right? 500,000 Bitcoin by September. That's FOMO, right? It's building you up to feel like, oh man, I got to get in. I'm about to miss out on a 10x. But he could be wrong, right? And if you watch it, he's not at his content is not as FOMO. He'll kind of break some stuff down. Every now and then he got some stuff in there. I'm like, nah, come on, man. You just shilling something right now. But it's not, you know, it's a pretty cool channel. They're a pretty wealthy company. It's more of a company than just him. But, you know, just stuff like this just disappoint me. Ethereum 100x explosion. I mean, Ethereum's sitting at almost 2,000. Let me see what it is right now. 1,800. 100x. You're telling me that it's going to go to 100x, which is going to be 180,000? Okay, maybe. On an infinite time scale, I would believe that. But to call it out right now is like, man, you're not really doing any justice here. You know, Ada Moonshot, 100x. That means we're going to go from $1 ADA to 100, which I'm all for. Look, I got the Cardano shirt on, right? I'll take it. But it builds up FOMO. And so you have to get to the point where you see these things and you don't just jump. You don't take off and you're like, "Oh, let me put some money in that." Like that's the way I used to be. I was watching all these videos every day. Somebody talking about, oh, Icon, oh, Tron, and all these XRPs going here and this is going there. And I was just like, boom, boom, money, 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 boom, boom. Every time we got a little bit of money, I got my bonus in. It was like, boom, boom, let put some money, put money. And I wasted a lot of money because I just didn't know. I was just like going off of other people. I wasn't doing my own research, right? So be careful with that. One of the last things wanted to show here was how to store it. And then we're way over time here, 10 minutes over, but bear with me. We'll split this video up. So the way that you can store it is one on an exchange, right? You go to Coinbase. We'll put a referral link in the bottom if you want to support the show. We appreciate it. Buy crypto on Coinbase. They don't support all the coins though. And you can just keep it on Coinbase. Highly suggest not keeping a bunch of crypto on an exchange. That's like putting a bunch of money in a bank and just trusting that things are going to be okay. One, other people can access it. Other people, the government, can access Coinbase, and we don't know what's going to happen. Bitcoin Zay, Isaiah Jackson from the Bitcoin in Black America has a phrase he's coined that says, no keys, no cheese. And we're not going to dig into the specifics of what the keys are and stuff, but the point is, if you don't own the password to your wallet, the keys, then you don't own the crypto, right? So imagine if you had like an actual wallet, but you couldn't, like somebody else had the actual password to your wallet, like your physical wallet with your debit cards in it. That's kind of the same concept. So there's a way to store all of this offline. This is the Ledger website. Ledger is a hardware wallet. The little device over here by the phone, that is a Ledger. And this device, along with the application that you see shown on the mobile phone or the mobile app here, this app here, or the app that's showing on the phone, is the Ledger app. And so you can put all your crypto on a Ledger, or a good number of it. There's so many cryptos, not all of them are supported, but you can put your crypto on a Ledger. That Ledger can go into a safe, a safety deposit box, wherever you want to put it. But you have a recovery phrase, a password, your keys of sort, and you probably want to keep that somewhere else. But that recovery phrase and those sort of things is the key. You do not lose that. You have to save that. No matter what wallet system you're using, you have to save it. But this is called offline hardware, cold storage, all sorts of things like that, because you can't get to it, right? Like you can see it, you can use it, things like that. I actually have this version over here on the right, the Ledger Nano S, the one that is a USB. The one on the left actually has Bluetooth. I don't have the Bluetooth one. I just have the one on the right, which is fine. Either one of them works. They're both Ledgers. They just keep making them better. There's plenty of other hardware wallets as well. All sorts of other security features to them. There's all kinds of things. But the point is, you can take that crypto, if you're buying, let's say you're buying a bunch, you don't want to have that, let's just say big numbers. You put $100,000 on Bitcoin. Don't leave that on Coinbase. Unless you're planning on like flipping and selling and doing that kind of stuff, don't leave it on Coinbase. Go ahead and get that off Coinbase, put it in a hardware wallet somewhere. If that's literally like a long-term hodl, take it off. Don't leave it on there. Let it appreciate and go somewhere else, right? That'll help in that fashion to protect that asset, right? Because it's an asset at that point, right? Last two things. John K in the chat asked, what do I think about Dogecoin? So Dogecoin is actually one that I bought a long time ago as well. And my Dogecoin is doing actually really well because I got it when it was 0.0009 cents, right? And I was just showing somebody how to use it and bought like $40 worth of it. And so now that 40 is worth like, I think like 300 based on the price today. So I could take profit, and it's a lot of profit. But or maybe it was 0.09. Either way, it's 0.009. Dogecoin it started as a joke. It was not meant to be anything serious. It came out, it was a meme, and the meme started blowing up. They had a bunch of scaling issues. They didn't know how to operate, or didn't know how to scale it and get it to work effectively. So what they ended up doing is kind of partnering with Ethereum and kind of building off of, I believe it was Ethereum. It started building off of their blockchain, not as a ERC20 token, which is literally a token that is working off of the chain, but just utilizing uh, the technology from this, and sum it up as their technology. That kind of helped solidify it, secure it a little bit more, and it's just been around. Now, Elon Musk loves it. He pumps it, he tweets it, the price goes, then it kind of just. The way I see Dogecoin is you can make a lot of money with Dogecoin because it is very volatile, and I'll actually pull it up on Coin Market Cap here. It's very, 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 very volatile. It goes up and down in a major way, right? So I got my Dogecoin here. Let's see. So it was 0.003 right around here. So I got it somewhere around like March of 2018. So somewhere around here is where I got my Dogecoin. And so you can see from here, and if you come up to here, we've had a pretty significant increase in Dogecoin's pricing. So now we're in the pennies. We're shot up to 0.08 not too long ago, and now we're hovering. We hover between 4 and 6 now, or really 5 and 6. It's actually accepted now at the Dallas Mavericks games through a company called BitPay, and like Mark Cuban is pretty big on it. He likes it, but I'm not sure that it ever goes beyond being what it is now, right? It could possibly blow up because a bunch of people just start buying it, and it could get like the GameStop kind of craze. Sure, maybe, which is kind of what helped pump this up here at this point. The GameStop craze, they started kind of pushing Doge, but I'm not putting a bunch of money in Doge and hope that it becomes some actual currency that's used and has some real utility. It's cool that the Mavericks are using it and they're promoting it as a way to buy things. Cool, like that's great. Like the more crypto gets used, the more it becomes common. Great, I'm all for it, but I'm not just gonna put a bunch of money into it. But again, the volatility of it, the way that before we hit this recent cycle where we've been above 4 cents, it's been a little less volatile. But you can ride that wave, right? It comes down to 4, it goes up to 8. If you put $100 on it and it goes from 4 cents to 8 cents, sell it. You got $200 now. When it drops back to 4, do it again. Drops back to 4, do it again. Right? Like it just keeps going up and down like that. So you can ride that wave. But again, not financial advice. But it is a good one to play around with. I might actually start mining some Dogecoin soon, just to kind of start playing around with it. So that's largely the crypto rundown. Wanted to real quick. Literally, the last thing was the NFTs. NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens, and we're right now in a bubble, meaning that things are going for exorbitant prices. I literally just told a friend recently, we're talking about NFTs, and I told him we're absolutely in a bubble. You're going to see some ridiculous prices for NFTs. The NFT that peaked this week was Beeple, $69 million for this artwork. Now, people have issue with it because they're like, oh, it's a JPEG. I just saved it. Now I have a $69 million a piece of art. Nah, I matter of fact, Hisoshi uh, has a very recent video he did on this, and at the end he did a 404 logic not found, and I can get right now every single high price work of art on my phone. I can download an image, I can save it, I can send it off, and I can get a canvas printed. Like, I could do that all day. I could get one of these glass pictures done all day of any artwork across the world that I wanted to do that's available as an image, right? If I go to a museum and I can sneak a picture, or they don't have a no picture policy, I can snap a picture of that thing and I can get it perfect lined up, and I can go home and print it and put it in the frame if I want it. It's the same thing with these NFTs. Art value is always been subjective, always. But the NFT is essentially, right now, it's all running on the Ethereum blockchain, and what they are just, the name is non-fungible tokens, but what they are just assets that are stored on the blockchain, and when it's on the blockchain, it's locked. And that means you have ownership, it's trackable, you can see it. That ownership will never change because it's minted in a block, right? So that's why people spend so much money on this artwork. It doesn't matter if it's NFT or otherwise, right? They're paying for ownership. I'm the owner of the people. Now, if somebody wants to pay me 200,000 or 200 million, then I can transfer ownership to them, right? That's the process. But we are definitely in a bubble on NFTs. But I definitely suggest go look at Hisoshi, Coin Bureau. They talk about NFTs and they break down what they are. Oh, there is actually one more channel I would highly suggest taking a look at, and we're going to close out here. Let me do. Yeah, so Andre Jick, I think, if I'm saying it correctly. He's a pretty cool channel. So as it says, the magic of finance. He does card tricks and stuff like that. So he'll do things like that. But he's talking about finance in general. And he has a pretty healthy portfolio. He shows it. He's very open about his investments. And he kind of breaks down some things. It's a very good channel, though. So Andre Jick, Andrei, and last name Jikh. Hopefully I can get him on the show one day, because I would love to have some conversations with him. But we're well over time. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. It was a quick rundown. I just wanted to give those tips because so many people come to me asking me about different coins, and they heard it was going to do this, they heard this, they heard that. There's some steady resources that you can take a look at, and just stay away from the FOMO. Don't worry about what people are shilling and telling you. Like, again, I wear this shirt and I got ADA on my shirt, but I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy ADA by any means necessary. You look at the coin, you look at the technology behind the coin, and you find out, do I believe in this coin? Is it at the peak, right? Am I at the all-time high? If you are, then don't buy it at the all-time high. Wait for it to come back. Then you can buy it and ride the wave up, right? Or you can go into certain exchanges and short coins, right? So there's all these things, all these ways to play crypto, but just be careful out there. Don't feel like people are telling you, put your $1,400 stimmy in Bitcoin. If you don't need the money, then maybe you do. Maybe you split it with Bitcoin and Ethereum, or maybe you buy ADA, or you buy Polkadot, or whatever, or you buy Dogecoin, whatever. Point is, do your own research, but these are some good places where you can dig in and get some news and updates. But I wouldn't make any purchase unless you have spent at least a week looking into this, whether it's one video a day or you spent a bunch of hours in a day just kind of digging into what's behind this. But do your research. I highly suggest. Same information I give or advice I give if it was a stock or anything else. Do your own research. We are the Political Free Agents. Again, thank you for hanging out for the extended time period here. We will split these. We have a bunch of videos that we're about to drop, which are basically every video that we've ever done. It has been split into individual clips. So we're about to start dropping those and putting them in. So that way you can just start getting these clips and you can start getting the small bite-sized pieces as opposed to sitting through an hour and a half show. But we thank you for doing it anyway. You can find us Sunday at 2 p.m., Tuesday at 7 p.m., unless I went to the dentist and my mouth is killing me, which is why we didn't go live last Tuesday. Also, hit us up, politicalfreeagents.com. You can view the live stream by clicking the live button on the site. You can catch us on YouTube Live, also on Facebook, and hit us up on social media at PFA Podcast. We'll catch you next week. Have a great one. Love y'all. We out.